Hello, everyone, and welcome to Prog Sweden. First up, I would like to welcome all recurring viewers. Thank you for coming back and watching Prog Sweden and participating in the community. And then to all new participants, this is Prog Sweden, the meetup where we explore functional programming languages and functional programming concepts. With that, let's head over to today's agenda. First, short introduction by me, Magnus. I'll try to keep it short so we can go over to the essentials, the presentations. Then we'll head over to F# from the maintainer's perspective by Petr Semkin. So Peter is part of Microsoft and developing the F# language as it is. It will be very interesting to hear his perspectives on developing the language that a lot of other people uses and see their perspectives and hear what he has to say. And then we go Redefining the Future of Web Development with Haskell by Martin. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. So Martin is building web development with Haskell. He's building a DSL interpreter with Haskell. So we'll see what that is and how you can develop your web and future of web development with Haskell. Then, let me see. As always, we'd like to thank our video sponsor, Adabeat. Adabeat is an IT consultancy company with offices in Stockholm and Ho Chi Minh. And the people at Adabeat, including me, are doing mostly functional programming. If you want to know more about Adabeat, head over to the webpage or in social media. Then schedule for the coming autumn. 10th of September, we'll be back with the next live stream. Then 8th of October, we will head over to Kivra here in Stockholm. So if you are in Stockholm, or if you want to come to Stockholm and come to a live event or in-person event, make sure to come to Stockholm on the 8th, and then make sure to also sign up so you get your seat at the Kivra event. Then 5th of November, we're back again with a live stream here on YouTube. And then we haven't decided yet when and where we're going to do things in December. Stay tuned and we'll announce it. If you want to support the community, and yes, you want to support the community, of course, you head over to Meetup and make sure to join the Meetup group and make sure to subscribe here on YouTube. And as always, also make sure to join our Discord server. In the Discord server, you can ask more elaborate questions, and we also, as of some meetups now, always have a post-show chat. So if you want to ask more elaborate questions, chat with other people doing functional programming, make sure to join the post-show, or make sure to join the Discord server. If you have questions during the live stream, just shoot them in YouTube or in Discord. With that, let's start. And I'll head over to our first presentation. Welcome, Peter, to Prog Sweden.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Yeah. Hi, Prog Sweden. Greetings from Prague.
Hello.
You hear me?
We hear you loud and well. Hey, we hear you loud and well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Greetings from Prague, Czech Republic. It's great to be here with all of you, at least virtually this time. I'm Petr Semkin. I'm a developer on the F# team in .NET. You can find me on GitHub. Hang on, I haven't shared my screen. You can find me on GitHub or X or Stack Overflow and whatever internet by this weird nickname, PS Spinaki. Today we'll talk about the job of the programming language compiler maintainer, the highlights and the lowlights of such a role, and probably its less obvious responsibilities. I decided to make this quite a lightweight talk without hardcore coding and stuff, but maybe the next speaker, Martin, will compensate for that. I will talk about half an hour and then leave time for your questions. So, disclaimer, first off, the presentation is called F# from the maintainer's perspective, that assumes the whole team here. And indeed, I compiled the ideas from my colleagues, and still I'm presenting here alone, so the folks cannot cut me short if there is something they disagree with. And for sure, I'm still somewhat biased towards my own opinions. That all means do not take this as an official stance of the team or the company. So with that in place, let's go on. Hang on. Yeah. So, sorry, there is trouble with the screen sharing. See my screen? Oh. Sorry. I guess something happened here. Yeah, right. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So first of all, who we are? We are Adam, Kevin, Petr, Tomáš, and Vlad. And we are located in Prague, all but Kevin, who is located in the United States somewhere. We are 4 to 6, depending on how you count this. Vlad is the manager, and Petr with the star, he's on leave right now. So yeah, that's depends. You might ask, where is Don? So here's Don. Don is the benevolent dictator for life. And well, these days, he used to be very active in the GitHub repo and commit to the tooling and to the compiler, but now he works in GitHub Next doing some cool AI stuff. And he is mostly a technical advisor for us nowadays. So he chimes in when things are hard. And also he oversees the language suggestions. So he's there with us, but he's like not as active as he used to be there. Now, to our job, here's the list of our responsibilities, so to say. So the following list is not sorted by importance or priority, but rather by my subjective idea of what is least expected to be in this list to what you might have expected. Hence, maintaining F# is last, but certainly not least here. And now I will go through all of those things that I described here. So supporting enterprise F# customers, the reason why this is important is that while Microsoft cannot charge developers for using a programming language, they can charge companies for using products like Visual Studio or Azure, which in turn partially pays our roles. So this makes sense. Hence, if paying customers indirectly through these products have problems with F#, we should respond. Same goes for internal customers, fellow Microsoft colleagues, for whom such things can hinder their business goals. And since F# is not a service, we don't have incidents, we don't have any on-call duty and such, but this is like the closest it can get to that. Such tickets get a priority and require some sort of mitigation, temporarily switching our focus from things like feature development or reviewing PRs from contributors. Internal work. So naturally, I cannot and I won't talk much about this. My point here is to note that not everything we do by far is visible from outside. For example, whatever public system, including our open source repo, is a target for bad actors out there. Hence, there is some work for us in security and compliance space. Also, via Visual Studio, we collect telemetry. There are things like F# editor features, usage, or code fix execution time. And even though this is not personal data, we should still review it, classify it, clean things up, build dashboards, and so on. On top of that, sometimes due to organizational reasons, we get tasks in some F# unrelated areas. Those usually don't take much time. It's more about mental energy, internal communication, and context switch, really. Same goes for hiring. There are hiring seasons in our company when some developers are encouraged and others are, well, very encouraged to engage. This is a great thing to do, but with all the paperwork, this also can take hours and days. All this often explains the fact that sometimes we are less active on GitHub, dedicating less time to PRs from contributors. And we can't comment in every PR, hey, we're not reviewing your contribution right now because we're doing this and this. Some people think that since F# is open source, then everything we do is open source, but that's not entirely the case. Now, let's get to some F# developing here. We do that for sure. That in our case means compiler features. We in the team each of us is pretty much assigned to either a big area like language server protocol or like a big feature like Tomasz was doing nullness support for reference types for very long. That's finally in. We do some performance work, and also we keep our eye on regressions. Regressions take priority because we don't want people to update the version of the language and see their code that used to work not work anymore. That's lame. So we address that. Tooling features include things like code fixes, type hints, analyzers, refactorings, and so on. Infrastructure, that's pretty much everything else. Tests, CI, benchmarks. We have benchmarks in our repo, and documentation is also in our repository. So we do all of that stuff also. Now, promoting F#. That includes conferences and meetups. That's what I'm doing right now. We are pretty much to our own in that regard. It's part of our jobs. So we do present at conferences like .NET Conference. I presented there last year. Also, there is a great community initiative, Amplifying F#. We collaborate in many regards and also sometimes present there at their meetups. There are also internal conferences in Microsoft. Now, we do things like blogs, release notes. .NET has a blog. We post there more or less every month or two these days. Visual Studio release notes, we compile them. Visual Studio also has a blog, and there are like a lot of mediums for that where we can like promote. It's not just like tweeting about stuff. We also do interact with communities. I already noted Amplifying F#, but we have the community on Slack, on Discord, on X, everywhere, Reddit. So we do communicate, people ask questions, we answer. That's also part of our job. Now, F# has the main repo, github.com/net F#. That's where we have the compiler code and the tooling for Visual Studio. But that's not the only thing. There is also a special repository for F# language suggestions. That's where the language itself is capped pretty much, as in people create ideas, what else can we add or how we can further simplify things in the language. And that needs to be approved before getting implemented. So, and that's pretty much the ideological thing, if we want to have this in the language or if we don't want. So that's not the technical implementation. The technical implementation discussions go to the other repository, which is called F# language design. Sorry. That's where the specification is kept. That's where we also create RFCs to update the specification. That's where a lot of technical discussions are happening. So most notably naming, which is of course the harder thing, how to name this or that API and so on. So we take an eye on that in order to have clear processes and stop some ideas before people invest too much time into them. Now, maintaining the repo. That's what we are called. There are a few things here. First, well, not first maybe, but like one of the important things that we do releases and backports. F# is part of the .NET ecosystem. So there are things beyond and beneath F#. We do things like insertions into Visual Studio because F# editor is component there. So there are processes around that. Sometimes things break also. If there is something important, regressions, we do backports to previous versions of Visual Studio, for example, and that require approvals from committees and some communication. That also might take some time there. CI, of course, needs some service. That's about dependency updates here. Restarting pipelines for PRs, fixing conflicts, this kind of stuff. Planning and roadmaps, we do monthly sprints. We're not very agile because that's a bit about the nature of the open source, I think. We have the repo and sometimes things like regressions pop up and like we should keep some buffer in our planning for them. They might not pop up, but if they do, we should switch our attention, for example. So we take some tasks, we leave some buffer for unexpected things or expected unexpected things. We do issue triage every week. That's for one, to identify regressions that I've talked about, identify by design behavior so that people don't fix something that actually works as it's supposed to. We also do assign priority to those things. And we do PR reviews. Of course, we do PR reviews from the team and from the community. And now I will get to this bigger slide about what we like about our job, what we don't like about our job. I'll stop the good stuff here, which is feeling important, the power. It's a big honor and big responsibility to do something like support for the language, and that since that's a user-facing thing, that feels even more important. Our users are developers, So still, it's pretty much like doing some UI in that regard. In regards to work-life balance, it's possible to have it because we don't have services or on call, things like that. We don't have very tough deadlines. The whole .NET is rather about doing things right than doing things fast. And it's like whatever we do by the next version of .NET goes there. Other things are postponed. We better test what we committed to and so on. That's nice mentality in a way. Technical challenges, compilers are very hard. A lot of things are happening simultaneously. And well, I'm working 2 years in this team and still my brain breaks all the time. That's a good exercise for the brain. And at the same time, you learn how things work, how the whole infrastructure works. I learned a lot about .NET, about performance in .NET and so on. So it, in a way, makes you think from the compiler perspective. When looking at the different programming language, instead of reading the docs, you think, how would you implement this so that people don't have to read the docs? And then you apply this thinking. So that's an interesting headspace there. Yeah, there are like in our part of Microsoft, there are just like a lot of known people that are like known outside of the company, like Steven Taub, Matt Storgensen, and they are in sibling teams, and that's just like very inspiring to have them there chime in different discussions. That's definitely great inspiration. The management is also very technical. It's easy to discuss some technical things with them. Next point, yeah, C# and is us. I mean, everybody who is in the .NET knows that C# in 10 years is how F# looks like now. They steal. Also, F# is just like more consistent due to some arguably better design decisions in the beginning. And also, last but not least, I just wanted to talk about that a bit more. Support from the community. It keeps my heart warm. You wake up, you log in to work and see somebody created this PR, implementing some feature, language suggestion, or just improving things around, and that's a great start of the work day. That's very very nice. I really love it. Also, we might see people just talking about the language and commenting on that, some activity in amplifying F#. That's all very, very great. The whole community, in my opinion, is very responsive and friendly. The atmosphere is awesome. So that's a big motivator for me. To the other side of that, lack of the power, that's a bit what I talked about before. We do have to do other things but F#, as I already described, and we do need to align with .NET so that we play out in this big .NET puzzle. So that's something for us always to keep in mind. Back to the work-life balance, for a lot of things we do, there is no need to log into the work laptop because of the nature of the open source again. Imagine it's Saturday and you're partying somewhere, not my story at all. And then you get this notification from GitHub that someone faces this issue when compiling their pet project, and you know how to fix it. But it's Saturday and you're partying, but this person is not partying, but instead is doing F# in their spare time and stumbling on this stupid bug where just enabling language preview flag would do the trick. And will you just artificially wait until Monday to say this? Or will you log in to GitHub and break the work-life separation. So it's hard. It can happen everywhere. GitHub, Slack, Discord, Reddit, where you might be involved in some other non-work related activities. It took me really a long time to set up the notifications correctly, if you will, to stay sane in this regard. Another challenge in that space is that it's sometimes we as maintainers have to say no to some contributions, and because after all, once we merge things, we maintain it. We will be with that forever, even if it's implemented by somebody else. Once it's in, it's on us. So we should consider every contribution from that perspective, and some of those things we have to reject. And it just requires a lot of this psychological involvement to not break the relationships in that regard. So saying no to people when they might have done that like of goodwill in their spare time, that's hard. That plays with the nerves a bit. And also another funny thing, or maybe not so funny, I used to use F# in my pet project before I joined that team, and I thought it's a perfect language. It's like, it's all set. It's near English. It's amazing. So that was my mentality before I started looking at things from inside. And suddenly I switched to this world of bugs in F#. It's, you see the issues. People are loud about like things that are not working, and not so loud about things that are working. So you are biased towards just like broken stuff everywhere, and it's just like, how do you even use that? So you need to care about getting this positive wave of feedback. Otherwise, it might seem like doom and gloom, all that stuff. To the technical challenges, compilers are hard, and that's also niche knowledge. There are only so many compilers for programming languages, and there is like not much help on that outside. That's like not React, and for that same reason, AI doesn't help much, because it just doesn't have much materials to learn from, to train the models. So that's something to keep in mind there. Bad side for smart people everywhere is, well, I mean, imposter syndrome, but that happens in IT everywhere. It's more about smart people might assume smart people, which results in some write-only code in the most responsible parts of the system, where, you know, those one-letter variables secretly referring to some academic papers you didn't expect to exist, even all that jazz. C#, even though it envies us, it breaks us. Some people do think about F# there, some people don't. We have to fix interop every now and then. So this year, so far so good, fingers crossed. But like last year was not so bright in that regard. So we just one day wake up and figure out that like some interop scenarios don't work anymore. And that also partially relates to the whole .NET tooling ecosystem. So those breaking scenarios can happen like from different sides. Yeah. And as for support of the community, the thing about the community is that the people there are most likely to do the fun stuff of F#. This means things like implementing feature suggestions or fixing annoying bugs, speeding up some scenarios. And don't get me wrong, this is amazing. And as I said before, one of the biggest motivators for me to work in my team. Also, this is completely understandable, since many of those folks do this for free in their spare time, or for their employers, for their projects. Why would they do the boring stuff? And by boring stuff, I mean things like refactorings, making CI faster, fixing flaky tests, or at least switching off flaky tests. We do get contributions like that, but those are rare. For example, we have the majority of test suites in XUnit, but a couple of them in NUnit. This has happened somehow. To make things worse, a huge bunch of tests also relies on Perl. Yes, on Perl. I mean, this is horrible. Everybody understands that, but it's a big time investment to actually address that. And AI is not capable of this yet. I tried. So when an external contributor implements a language suggestion, this warms up my heart. Yet, if there was anybody in the community who would like migrate the test project from NUnit to XUnit, if this person was in the travelable distance, I would personally come visit their city, take them to the bar, buy them a beer, whatever. That happy I would be in that case. And so, of course, we don't push people for doing these mundane activities. All we need is some understanding that such work is on us. And when people become pushy on why we don't review their PRs, whereas we are fixing fires in the CI, which actually block PRs, that just feels unfair a bit. And also we might become defensive. To finish up, wanted to talk about some trends here. I think we are getting more responsive as a team because, well, first of all, we are more people and there is fresh blood. I think there is better latency in our responses and also more transparency, which is one of the reasons I'm talking about this today. And at the same time, community is more understanding. So the communication is friendly. People sometimes do submit non-technical PRs. And what I really like is that people involved in each other's activities, they review each other's PRs, comment on each other's tickets. That means a lot to us. So because that's taking some of the hardest things, parts of the job, and helps us a lot. So, and I hope this talk also strengthens and widens the bridges we're building here. I don't have an entire picture here myself, but from the perspective I have, which are 2 years of work in the role of the F# repo maintainer, our cooperation with the community is remarkable and harmonious, which makes my functional heart beat faster every day. So on that note, I'll finish the talk. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Peter. An amazing talk. You already had shout outs through half of the presentation, like an amazing talk. People love it. Also shout out for your t-shirt. People have done that in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give people a chance to ask questions in the chat, but so I'll start up with my own question. How come you came into F# and the Microsoft F# team?
Yeah, that's part of the story. I was using F# as my pet project, and I thought that's amazing, amazing language. And for a long while there was no open position. There were like fewer people developing the language, and then they opened a few positions in Prague for this new team, and I just jumped in. I thought I actually liked what I was doing before, but I thought that's like once in a lifetime opportunity, and that was, I think, a good decision.
Nice. Also, can you? I'm not aware, so maybe this is open knowledge already, but like the coming release of F#, is that an open what you're developing or doing or features?
Yeah, sure. Well, we have something like a public roadmap because we do pretty much everything. We GitHub, there are like projects there what we commit to. but we also are currently in the stage where we pretty much delivered everything we could, because now .NET will be released in November, and now all parts of it get in this phase where just like testing how things work, and fixing bugs, regressions, and so on. So we have just merged the nullness functionality for reference types, which is like a very big deal. So people will get everything of like the future F# using the special compiler flags for language previews. Otherwise, we will definitely summarize what we achieved in the posts closer to the release of the .NET 9, I think.
Cool. Final question. How come F# have more engaged users than C#? Or is that just an impression? Or is or are the F# users more engaged?
Engaged, that's an interesting word. I mean, F#, we are here like in the functional programming meetup. So F# is not pure functional language; it's functional first language in a way. So you get into this we're thinking in terms of like functional programming, and then once you are there, you cannot understand how you lived before, right? So and that's pretty much why people, I guess, stay within the community of the language of their interest in that regard, because there is pretty much no way back. So yeah.
I kind of agree. I see that also. I mean, I think the functional programming community overall, any language, is very engaged, more engaged than the average OOP.
Exactly.
Or OOP. Again, thank you very much, Peter, for your presentation. And I want to do a final shout out also to Amplify F#. The people there, if you're engaged in F#, head over to Amplify F# also.
Amplifying
F#. Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Peter.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. With that, we say thank you very much, Peter.